Hello everyone and welcome back to the pit. After too much maybe talk, bold action, is now finally time to put the action at the forefront. Because today this is the first video battle report of 3rd edition, incidentally, but also the very first battle of my new and ongoing Operation Market Garden campaign that I'm having my friends at Friuli War Games play and playtest as a sort of guinea pig, if you wish. So let's just dive right straight into this. So we are in the Eindhoven sector, the southernmost sector of the whole operation. If this does not make sense to you, I will put down in the description of the video the links to the general discussion about the historical Operation Market Garden and to the video where I discuss and I introduce basically the campaign in its complexity and a couple of the special rules that apply to it. So, game 1. We are just outside the town of Veghel and we are fighting over a bridge. So, battle number 1 of the campaign, Eindhoven sector, Veghel bridge. There is one single objective, one thing that matters. And the objective for both teams is to hold the bridge at game's end, or to blow it up in case of the Germans. In this game, the Americans, the American paratroopers, are going to be the attackers, and the Germans are going to be the defenders. The game duration is 7 turns, or until the bridge blows up. A couple of special rules apply. For example, starting from the end of turn 5, the Germans can blow up the bridge by rolling a 5+ if there are no Allied units on it. This means no German units on it, and if they have a pioneer unit within 12 inches of the bridge itself. These demolition charges, can be defused by any American infantry unit that is standing on the bridge itself and which spends a whole turn doing a rally action on the bridge. And the defusing happens at the end of the turn. Should the Americans manage to defuse the charges, this means that the Germans, of course, will have no possibility of blowing the bridge up. Plus, additional limitations have applied for army list creation. Again, if this doesn't make too much sense to you, go check the videos I mentioned before. Basically, every player in the campaign has had a sort of an army list of available troops that he has. He gets to pick among these troops the forces that he fields in every battle, but if they lose any particular unit, they cannot be used any longer in the next games of the campaign. Now, moving on, the forces that are fighting tonight. On the American side, 1,000 points. The American player, in this case, is Paolo. He brings 2 rifle platoons. The first platoon is comprised of a platoon commander, 1 leader plus 1 man, all armed with rifles. Of course, being airborne, all troops are veteran. 2 units of paratroopers, 10-man paratroopers with 1 SMG. 2 units of 6 paratroopers, of 6 men, in this case, with 1 LMG each. The company commander and a medic, plus a second rifle platoon, with a platoon commander, again the leader plus one additional man, and 3 identical units of ad hoc paratrooper units, aka a normal paratrooper units, but limited in numbers up to 6 men. So they cannot field more than 6 men in their ad hoc troop choices. Fighting them, defending the bridge, we have Kampfgruppe Walther. They have 700 points at their disposal to build their army, and the German player, which for the Eindhoven sector is going to be Filippo, he went for a rifle platoon and a heavy platoon. In the rifle platoon he picked a platoon commander, 1 leader plus 4 extra men, all armed with rifles, 3 identical units of regular here grenadiers, with 7 men and 1 LMG each, a single unit, the only unit of pioneer that he has available for the campaign. He picked those at 5 men, and they were armed with 5 SMGs, plus a sniper team and a Panzerschreck team. In the heavy platoon we have the platoon commander, all on his own, and with him we have a medium machine gun and a heavy mortar with spotter. All German troops are regular, except for the pioneers, which are of course veteran. Now you may ask, why pioneers in a rifle platoon? Because again, this campaign follows slightly different army composition rules, and having one single pioneer unit available, I dictated that they were able to join the rifle platoon as normal. Having taken a look at the army lists, let's move straight into the battlefield and to the battle itself. This is the battlefield. We have the bridge, the objective of the game. The game is going to be played among the short table edges. The Germans will begin already deployed, because of course they are defending this place, and they have the opportunity to start the game hidden if they so desire. As for the battlefield itself, we have a road, a bridge, which counts as hardcover if need be, a couple of houses, one house here, 3 smaller houses here, 2 ruins. Then we have a very big woods over here. Basically all this area counts as a singular wood. Then we have a lot of bushes. They are not hedgerows, they are just bushes, and I rule that as far as line of sight is concerned, you are able to draw line of sight over one set of bushes. For example, if there's a unit standing here, you are able to see over the first row of bushes. The second one blocks line of sight. Alright, just to give the defenders some clearish line of sight. Of course there will be plenty, especially of light cover. We have some stone walls for heavy cover if need be, a couple of more woods here, and some fields. Again, they do not block line of sight and provide light cover to troops standing in them or behind them, but again they do not block line of sight. Again, the battle report will be in picture format, because this way it's easier for me. I'll admit it, it's easier for me to make this video. It doesn't take as much time, and since there are going to be 15 missions in the campaign, this way we can hopefully keep the rhythm high, so to speak. So again, is the battlefield seen from another perspective. Basically the Americans are going to start the game all in first wave, and they will be coming out from the southern edge of the screen that is now displayed. This is another perspective from the let's say from the German point of view, and one last establishing shot. Here are the American troopers. You can see the company commander. We have 2 platoon commanders, the 3 identical 6-man ad hoc squads, the medic, the 2 6-man teams with LMG, and finally the 2 big 10-man paratrooper teams. This is the German deployment. In this picture we can see the MMG holding the bridge. We have the sniper hidden behind here, the large platoon command squad, and then we have 1, 2, and 3 regular here Grenadiers team, the lone officer from the 2nd platoon, and the 5-man engineer squad. So the German player opted for a defense in depth with the idea of basically engaging the enemy as close as possible to their own table edge in order to win and buy time to blow the bridge and or to make sure that the Americans cannot capture it. More pictures of the deployment. We can also see the Panzerschreck over the river. I didn't mention it, the river itself is impassable to all units. As you might have noticed, the Panzerschreck basically was going to be useless for the rest of the game, but the German player wasn't sure whether or not there were going to be light vehicles from the Americans, so he bought one. You know, in war, you never know in advance what the enemy is going to bring. This is the southern, let's say, part of the map with a 7-man squad and the command squad. Again, this is more focused on the center of the board. You can clearly see the MMG on top, standing on top of the bridge. This is the spotter for the heavy mortar. But where is the heavy mortar? I hear you say. Of course, it's behind the big building on the opposite side of the river. Again, one last shot. So basically, the heavy mortar is behind this building which you can see on the right here. Again, this is the German deployment. Pretty forward. I didn't expect the German player to use this kind of deployment. Let's see if works out or not. So first turn begins. A couple of orders are being given, a couple of ambush orders from the MMG, from the first squad here in the woods, while the officer and the engineers slowly creep in the woods. On the other side, of course, the American first turn is basically a whole bunch of running up inside the battlefield. We have the 2nd rifle platoon all going here on the right side, on the upper side of the battlefield. We have the officer here and 1, 2, 3 squads, while the 1st platoon is basically pushing over the left side of the board. Turn 1 is rather quick. Not much is in range, just a stray mortar shot that misses the mark. I can say, or I can already mention this, the mortar will not hit a single time during all the battle. Not a single hit will be scored by the heavy mortar. So, beginning of round 2, a couple of ambushes are kept by the German player. Start of round 2, the first dice is American, and of course the company commander goes for a big snap to action, activating the 2 6-man teams, the medic, and one of the large 10-man teams, with a whole bunch of running going around. Unfortunately, he moves just forward, just enough to be in range of the sniper, and this is the result of the wound roll. And so the company commander of the 101st Airborne Division bites the dust after having given a single order. He will be sorely missed, because this was the only, of course, company commander available for for Paolo for the whole campaign. And this is the sniper that made the trick shot. Again, fun fact, this basically will be the only casualty that the sniper will score for the whole match. All the other shots will be either misses or they won't be able to wound. But I guess if he had a single available shot, at least he picked his target well. So, undaunted by the loss of their commander, the paratrooper rush forward. As you can see, some Overwatch fired resulted in casualties. 3 men were lost from the smaller LMG section up here, and 1 loss was sustained by this large group in the middle, despite the best efforts of the medic to make himself a target for the Germans, but they didn't take the bait. So again, you can see this 5 is the mortar tracking shot, but again they missed for the rest of the game. In the upper side of the battlefield, the other rifle platoon moves in. Again, some losses are taken by one of the teams due to an ambush shot by the rifle squad here in the woods. The platoon commander and one ad hoc section occupy the building, while another section goes for a surround maneuver. This is a shot of the center of the board. Again, we see some pinning being done to the furthest squad here in the woods, while everything else, basically, the Germans stay kind of put and open fire. The pioneers have moved back once again. They still have to make up their mind. Turn 3 begins. Again, the medic is trying to make himself a target, but the German player doesn't fall for this clever trick. The Americans keep advancing steadily. They know they don't have much time, so they have to press on the attack. They start pinning the enemy units finally here in the south with the other LMG team, while in the north, again inspired by their commander, who keeps snapping to action, the American troopers keep moving forward. They go over the bushes here and try to engage the furthermost German squad hiding in the woods here. Again, in the south, the Allied push continues. The Germans try to shoot as much as they can. They inflict 1 loss to the unit here in the wheat field, and just a single pin on the command squad here. Now, it might be worth mentioning that up to turn 3, the American player's luck was simply abysmal. I think he averaged a roll of like 2.5 out of 6. He failed all cover saves. He basically failed all that he could. He even failed an auto test from one of the veteran troops. So it was very his morale was rock bottom at this moment. And again, up until this moment, the German player was rolling quite decently. But this is the turn when things started to change. Again, this is a Lager shot. You see one of the ad hoc paratrooper teams trying to surround the woods, trying to make a sort of a right hook up here. And again, in the south, there is a very big push with the 2 large 10-man squads going up here. These are the 2 survivors of the company commander squad, and the remaining squad leader again pushing. The doctor again leads the charge, so to speak. And so far he saved no man. Again, abysmal luck for the American player. Again, this is the end of turn 3. Larger shot. The engineers, the pioneers, have moved again back up in the woods. Basically, what the German player thought at this point was to try and push back the American assault up here in the north section of the map, and this will turn out to be a costly decision. Meanwhile, in the south, things are starting to look bleak for these 2 teams, because there's a whole bunch of like 30 veteran paratroopers barreling towards them. So turn 4 arrives. The Germans get the first die, so another big snap to action. Everybody fires as much as possible. Again, the pioneers try to advance. More losses are inflicted on this LMG team. They are down to just the LMG. The American player decides to forego the NCO and keep the LMG firing, basically. Again, a couple of more pins, but not too much damage being done, because now the German dice starting to become super cold. Just again, his rolling average started to plummet, and it won't stop until the end of the game, basically. Spoiler. The large teams, undaunted, keep pushing. The command squad starts taking some casualties in the south, and we have probably the first decisive moment of the game. Again, the small paratrooper teams goes for a desperate assault against the unit that was here in the woods. Of course, being in cover meant that the German defenders went to hit first. They only inflicted 1 casualty though, and were wiped out in return. And this was really the beginning of the end for the German defenders. This is where things start really falling apart, because they really have committed a lot by doing this. Let's call it a forward deployment, and now this is when the bill starts showing up. Again, the American keeps using, of course, a lot of snap to action. The Germans arrive to man this this obstacle here, again trying to power as much fire as possible into the advancing Americans. Here you can see that this squad has taken some casualties, but of course, being veterans with a platoon commander right at our back, they are not particularly fazed by having one pin marker on them. In the north, again, the Americans keep pushing. The pioneers, start being under heavy fire, and this is when the German player realizes that they have probably gone too far ahead, because now they can't activate the charges, the demolition charges that are used to blow up the bridge, and that they probably will not make it back alive, because now they have 4 squads, actually 3 plus 1 officer, basically all gunning for them. They have already 3 pins, and yeah, things are starting to look grim here in the north. Same goes actually for the south, though. Again, these are the 2 survivors of the company commander team, which nobody pays attention to them, so they are basically sneaking, running forward actually, trying to be as sneaky as possible. Meanwhile, the other Germany platoon commander starting to take losses. He's down to 3 men, and things don't look great for him and his cronies, even though time is an ally for the Germans, because their goal is not to kill the enemies. Of course, that's a bonus, that's a plus. The goal is to hold the bridge. Turn 5 comes, and again the first dice is a German one, another snap to action. The German player Filippo desperately trying to make things work. He keeps moving back. Now, excuse me for the picture being out of focus. Again, he's trying to pull back the engineers here, while the platoon commander himself sort of tries to sacrifice himself to buy time for the engineers, in a bold move for sure, but probably not too clever on his part, while again the American paratroopers are occupying the woods. In the south, again, another snap to action. Basically means that the officer squad gets wiped out here in the field down here. Again, the mortar keeps missing. Now he has missed this unit for the 2nd time in a row. Meanwhile, the LMG is pummeling this unit here. They already have 3 pins. There are just 5 guys left. And against all these American paratroopers, angry American paratroopers, they know they are not long, not in this war for long. Again, another big push by the American in the woods in the north, focusing a lot of fire in the pioneers, who are down to just 3 men. And again, more run being done by the two survivors here. Sometimes, so far they have been under fire by the sniper, but again without too much success. Just a single pin was done. Meanwhile, the MMG tries to again pin and kill, but not too much avail. Again, this is where the end for the pioneers has gone close. These troopers here, they charged and killed the lone officer that was up here, and they consolidated further deeper into the forest. this is the end of turn 5. Now, the good thing for the German is that their tactic is working, because they really are buying a lot of time. It's turn 5, and the paratroopers are nowhere super close to the bridge. Again, the battle finishing in turn 5, and the Americans needing to clear the bridge. So of course it's just an MMG. It's not too much, but it's still something you have to do. And all in all, the Germans still have a full squad of grenadiers up here in the woods. Again, in the south, things are looking grim, as are in the north. The pioneers are shot from all sides. Again, more snapping to action, and finally they are down to one single man who fails his morale check and decides to run. Meanwhile, the unit that was here pulls back toward the bridge, because now they have to hold. So they bravely put themselves as far as possible, trying to block charges towards the MMG, trying to eliminate at least one squad, but not to much avail. Now, one of the men of the company commander's men gets killed, but the last survivor is still alive, still around. Meanwhile, one of the LMG team starts shooting at the MMG that get one man down. In the south, the last resistance of the German is broken. The surviving LMG starts to fall back, because the Paolo is trying to preserve his troops somehow. Same goes with a lieutenant here, trying to get out of line of sight from the sniper. And here we are at the beginning of the last turn of the game. The German team that had bravely put themselves deliberately into harm's way get shot up to pieces. The mortar desperately trying to do something, again failing miserably, and the defenders are gunned down mercilessly by all the Americans here. Again, now the Americans try to kill off the last few remaining units. We have a Panzerschreck, which has been doing basically nothing all game, just trying not to be too much of a target. The sniper loses his observer, but he manages to pass his morale check, so still hangs around a little bit more. But eventually, both the two surviving teams here decide to go down to try and make it out of the game alive. Of course, the sniper, being an infiltrator into light cover with a down order, gets a 2+ cover save from over 6 inches away. Everybody that can starts shooting at the medium machine gun, namely he gets shot up by the 2 light machine gun. Of course, first this one gets to shoot, then the other one comes over the bushes here. They pour as much fire as they can, but failing. Even the last lone guy here from the company commander tries to take out the last member of the MMG crew, but he fails miserably. As literally the last dice roll of the game, the Panzerschreck finally moves forward, tries to blow up one of two guys here in this LMG team, going for a lucky break basically, but again no avail. And this is where the game ends. These are the last few shots of the game. So the official result of the game is a German victory, despite the tragic losses. Here you can see the Germans lost 6 out of 10 of their initial order dice. Still, they achieved their objective. The bridge was held. The paratroopers eventually retreated, and so again, despite the terrible losses suffered by the Germans, the result is a victory. But this is where the campaign mechanics come into play. So we can bring up the original list. So the 101st Airborne basically no longer as a company commander, because despite one man being still alive from the unit, I rule that since the big man himself was killed, the whole unit counts as destroyed, while the Germans took huge losses. They lost 2 whole platoon commanders. They lost their only pioneer unit that they had available for the whole campaign, which means that in the second battle, which will be another bridge assault, they won't have the option, the possibility of blowing up the bridge, because there are no more engineers alive to make the charges work, basically. And they lost 3 of their here grenadier units. Now, when the whole of day 1 battles will be over, I will probably make a very quick recap video about the situation of the various armies, let's say. So for now, Kampfgruppe Walther has secured a victory in their sector, and this will be important for both Nijmegen and Arnhem, because again, keep in mind that this is a scenario where what happens in one sector can very well have consequences in other sectors. So by winning this battle, the Germans have basically borrowed time. They have stymied somehow the advance of the 30th Corps, making reinforcements take longer to reach Nijmegen and especially Arnhem. So this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned if you want to see how the campaign pans out. Next, my gamers should be fighting the first battle in the Nijmegen sector. It will be another bridge assault, because this is what Operation Market Garden was about, largely, at least in the beginning. The map will be completely different, and who knows which troops our friends are going to use. If you want to find out, remember to stay tuned, drop a like if you like the video, subscribe if you want, it helps me a lot. Again, I hope you had your fun with this finally a battle report, even though just with pictures. And again, I hope to see you in the next video. As usual, until next time, be safe, and ciao ciao.